There is a moment in life when something subtle but dangerous begins to happen inside you. A moment when your confidence starts leaking quietly, when your decisions feel shaky, when your goals no longer feel sharp, when your voice softens, when your presence shrinks, and you don't even notice it happening. Machiavelli understood this moment better than anyone. He believed the most destructive enemy you will ever face is not a rival, not a critic, not a failure, not society, not misfortune, but your own doubt. Not the loud kind, not the panic, but the slow, quiet weakening of your inner authority. He wrote, "A man collapses internally long before he collapses externally, and that is the phase you're in when everything begins to feel uncertain. You're not broken, you're not weak, you're not lost. You're entering the mental battlefield." Machiavelli warned every ruler, warrior, and leader about the battlefield where your old identity fights your emerging one. The subtle attack self-doubt never enters loudly. It enters like a whisper. Are you sure you can do this? What if you fail again? Maybe you're not meant for this. Maybe you're not as capable as you thought. One whisper becomes two, to become 10. 10 become a chain wrapped around your power. And the worst part, it feels natural, because your doubt uses your own voice. Machiavelli believed this was the most dangerous psychological trap. When the enemy speaks with your tongue, you obey without resistance. You stop moving. You delay your decisions. You shrink your ambitions. You lower your standards. You retreat to safety. Not because you lost ability, but because you lost certainty. The beginning of collapse. Machiavelli taught rulers a simple truth. Power decays the moment a man hesitates. And you feel that decay in your life right now. You hesitate before opportunities. You doubt your abilities. You question your worth. You overthink decisions. You defer to others. You apologize too quickly. You suppress your voice to avoid judgment. This is how internal collapse begins, not with failure, but with hesitation. Because hesitation is the root of every destroyed ambition. Machiavelli believed self-doubt is not merely emotional. It is political, a rebellion inside your mind, a coup against your own authority. And unless you crush that rebellion quickly, your entire inner kingdom begins to fracture. The first Machiavellian law. Seize your own throne. Machiavelli taught princes that the very first threat they must eliminate is uncertainty. Not enemies, not competition, not criticism. Uncertainty, because uncertainty creates openings. Openings invite weakness. Weakness invites collapse. This applies to your life the same way it applied to kingdoms. If you do not rule your mind with authority, your mind will rule you with fear. That is the real danger. You think you're simply stressed. You think you're fatigued. You think you're not ready. No, you are being dethroned from the inside. This is why Machiavelli said, "He who does not command himself will be commanded." You must reclaim your inner throne. You must take back your authority. You must become the dominant voice in your mind again. Because if you don't, your doubt will. Where this chapter leads, this chapter is the awakening. The moment you finally recognize that your enemy is not out there, it is inside a voice that must be silenced, reshaped, and dominated if you ever want to rise again. In chapter 2, you will learn how Machiavelli breaks that voice, how he dismantles the psychology of doubt so completely that it never regains its power, because this battle is winnable, but only if you fight it the Machiavellian way. Chapter 2, how Machiavelli destroys the voice of doubt before you can rise in life. You must first understand the nature of the enemy inside you, not the external obstacles, not the critics, not the circumstances, but the voice that keeps repeating, "You're not enough." Machiavelli believed this internal voice was not accidental. It was engineered, shaped by past failures, old wounds, childhood, conditioning, social pressure, and moments of humiliation that carve themselves into your identity. He wrote, "A man is conquered not by his enemies, but by the memories that weaken him." Self-doubt is memory speaking. It is the shadow of an earlier version of you trying to control the present, and Machiavelli despised that, because nothing destroys potential faster than loyalty to a weaker past. The origin of doubt, a wound that never healed according to Machiavelli. Every person carries a psychological scar, a moment where someone dismissed you, someone outshone you, someone embarrassed you, someone abandoned you, someone judged you, someone made you feel small. That moment forged an internal voice, a voice that whispers every time you try to rise, a voice that says, "Stay where you are, do not attempt more, do not risk anything." This voice was meant to protect you back then, but now it traps you. Machiavelli understood that is not cowardice, it is old self-preservation, malfunctioning in your adult life. To destroy it, you must expose it, and that is where the Machiavellian method begins. The Machiavellian rule: doubt survives only in silence. Machiavelli wrote, "What is unexamined grows in power," meaning your doubt controls you because you never confront it directly. You feel it, you obey it, you adjust your life around it, but you never interrogate it. So Machiavelli forces you to ask, where did this belief come from? Whose voice am I repeating? Who taught me to doubt myself? Why am I loyal to a version of me that no longer exists? Because once doubt is identified, it becomes weaker. It loses its mystique. It becomes just another thought, not a command. This is the first psychological strike. The second strike: replace fear with calculation. Machiavelli believed fear becomes dangerous only when it is formless. When you don't understand what you're afraid of, your imagination expands the threat infinitely. So he taught rulers to do something simple and brutal: define the danger clearly. Ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid will happen? What is the worst-case scenario? And what power does it genuinely have over me? You will discover something Machiavelli knew for centuries. Most fears die the moment they are dissected, because fear without clarity is terror. Fear with clarity is strategy. The third strike: starve the old identity. Your doubt is attached to the person you used to be, the insecure you, the hesitant you, the inexperienced you, the powerless you. Machiavelli's solution? Stop feeding that version. Stop thinking like it. Stop speaking like it. Stop making decisions like it. Stop apologizing like it. Stop shrinking like it. A new identity cannot grow when the old one is kept alive. He wrote, "A prince must cease to be what no longer serves his rule, and you must cease to be who no longer serves your future." Where this leads by attacking doubt with exposure, clarity, and identity starvation, you weaken its foundation, the foundation it has depended on for years. You are no longer obeying the old voice. You are interrogating it. You are starving it. You are replacing it. This is the beginning of the takeover, the point where you begin reclaiming authority. In Chapter 3, you will learn something even more powerful: how Machiavelli turns self-doubt into a weapon, how he converts fear into dominance, and how he makes your insecurities serve you instead of weaken you. Chapter 3: How Machiavelli turns your fear into power. Most people think confidence comes from eliminating fear. Machiavelli laughed at that idea. He believed only fools try to overcome fear. Trying to destroy fear makes you obsessed with it. Trying to silence fear only strengthens it. Trying to run from fear turns you into its servant. He wrote, "Fear is not to be slain, but mastered," meaning fear is not your enemy. Fear is raw energy, neutral, powerful, and waiting for direction. And if you learn how to control it, fear becomes your sharpest weapon. This is the Machiavellian method. Take the force that weakens most people and use it to dominate your own mind. The first transformation: turn fear into alertness. Fear has a physical signature. Your heart beats faster, your senses sharpen, your awareness expands, your thoughts accelerate, your energy resists. Most people interpret these signals as panic, but Machiavelli taught rulers to reinterpret them as readiness. When your fear spikes, you are not breaking, you are waking up. Your system is preparing for action. Your intuition is sharpening. Your brain is entering high alert. So instead of saying, "I'm nervous," he trained his students to say, "I'm becoming aware." Fear becomes useful the moment you change its meaning. The second transformation: turn fear into strategy. Fear shows you exactly where your weakness is. Fear reveals the enemy inside your mind. Fear highlights the area of your life that needs dominance. Machiavelli told leaders, where a man is afraid, he must build power. So if you fear speaking up, that is where you must build strength. If you fear failure, that is where you must train repetition. If you fear rejection, that is where you must develop indifference. If you fear judgment, that is where you must cultivate self-authority. Fear is not random, it is diagnostic. It shows you the battlefield. And Machiavelli believed, a man who knows the battlefield cannot lose. The third transformation: turn fear into movement. What separates weak minds from strong minds is not the presence of fear, but their response to it. Weak minds freeze. Strong minds advance. Most people wait until fear disappears before they act, but fear never disappears on its own. It grows in silence. It multiplies during hesitation. It becomes heavy when you avoid it, So Machiavelli taught the opposite. Act before you feel ready. Move while you are afraid. Strike in spite of uncertainty. He believed courage is not the absence of fear, it is dominance over fear. He wrote, "A man becomes fearless by forcing his fear to follow him," meaning you don't wait for confidence. You build confidence by acting through fear. Every step you take while afraid kills a piece of the weakness inside you. The fourth transformation. Turn fear into identity. Your fear is tied to an outdated identity, a weaker version of you. Machiavelli's approach was surgical. Use fear as proof that the old identity is dying. If speaking boldly scares you, it means the shy self is dissolving. If taking risks scares you, it means the passive self is collapsing. If raising your standards scares you, it means the self that tolerated disrespect is disappearing. Fear is the signal that you are stepping into a larger version of yourself. It is not the enemy. It is the evolution, but it leads by redefining fear. You convert weakness into fuel. This is why Machiavelli never sought a life without fear. He sought a mind that could use fear. And this is your turning point. You are not here to kill fear. You are here to command it. Chapter 4. Rebuilding your self-image, the Machiavellian way, if fear is the enemy inside you. Your self-image is the throne it wants to sit on. Machiavelli understood something most modern people never realize. Your self-image determines your fate more than your talent. Not who you actually are, but who you believe you are. He wrote, "A man becomes the figure he accepts himself to be. If you see yourself as weak, you will behave weakly. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will tolerate disrespect. If you see yourself as incapable, you will sabotage your progress. If you see yourself as inferior, you will shrink when opportunities appear." This is why Machiavelli focused on rebuilding a person's inner identity before anything else. He believed, no strategy works for a man who secretly thinks he is powerless. So he taught a brutal truth. Your life rises or falls to the level of your self-image. The collapse of the old identity. Before you rebuild your self-image, you must understand how the old one was formed. It wasn't shaped by your potential, it was shaped by criticism, childhood roles, past failures, social rejection, humiliating moments, the opinions of others, experiences of powerlessness. A lifetime of self-limiting beliefs. Your old identity was not created by who you were, it was created by what happened to you. Machiavelli believed this was psychological imprisonment. He wrote, "A man chained by his former self cannot rule even his own mind." So chapter 4 begins with demolition. You must break the outdated identity before constructing a new one. The Machiavellian reset. Self-image is a decision, not a discovery. People waste years trying to find themselves. Machiavelli rejected that completely. To him, identity was not found, it was chosen. Designed consciously, constructed intentionally, built like a fortress. He taught rulers, if you do not define yourself, your enemies will do it for you. Replace enemies with society, your past, your insecurities, your fears, your critics, your failures, and the principle remains true. So here is the Machiavellian reset. You choose who you are becoming, not your past, not your fear, not your environment. This is psychological sovereignty, and it is the foundation of unstoppable confidence, building the new identity. 3. Machiavellian pillars. 1. Identity through action. Machiavelli believed identity is solidified not through thought, but through behavior. You become disciplined by acting disciplined. You become confident by acting confident. You become powerful by acting powerful. Identity follows action, never the reverse. So he taught, act as the man you wish to be, and you shall become him. 2. Identity through standards. Your standards define your worth. What you tolerate becomes who you are. What you allow becomes your reputation. What you accept becomes your identity. Raise your standards, and your identity rises with them. Lower your standards, and your identity collapses. 3. Identity through self-loyalty. Machiavelli believed a man must be loyal to his future self, not his wounded past. Loyal to his growth, loyal to his potential, loyal to his ambition. He wrote, "Be faithful to the man you are becoming, because if you are not loyal to your future cannot be loyal to you." Where this leads, the moment yourself changes, your life recalibrates, opportunities appear, people treat you differently, you walk with authority, you speak with clarity, you stop shrinking, you stop apologizing, you stop doubting, because the world mirrors the identity you project. This is the Machiavellian transformation. You do not wait for confidence. You become someone confidence belongs to. In Chapter 5, you will learn how Machiavelli teaches you to project this new identity into the world, how to build presence, authority, and leverage so powerful that others feel your strength before you even speak. Chapter 5, How to Project Power Before You Speak. Once you rebuild your inner identity, Machiavelli teaches the next stage of dominance, projecting power outward. Not loud power, not aggressive power, not forced power, but the kind of power people feel the moment you enter a room before a single word leaves your mouth. Machiavelli believed that external authority begins with internal certainty. But certainty alone is not enough. You must learn to signal it, because the world does not respond to your intentions, it responds to your presence. He wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than the mind. All may see what you seem, few know what you are." Meaning, people don't wait to understand you. They form conclusions instantly, and Machiavelli teaches you how to control those conclusions. The first law, your silence must be strategic. Most people speak to fill silence. Machiavelli said silence is where real power begins. Why? Because silence forces others to observe you, wonder about you, interpret you, anticipate. You feel uncertainty around you. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates leverage. People fear what they cannot predict. People respect what they cannot fully read. People admire what they cannot easily understand. So Machiavelli taught rulers, say little, reveal less. Your silence should not come from insecurity, but from strategy. Speak only when it strengthens your position, never when it weakens it. Underscore the second law, move slowly, decide clearly. Most people rush. They hurry, they fidget, they move with nervous, scattered energy. Machiavelli hated this. He believed a powerful person must move like a man who has time, because time is the highest currency of confidence. Slow movements signal composure. Stillness signals inner strength. Unhurried decisions signal dominance. He wrote, "Great men act as though they command time itself. So, walk slower. Turn your head with intention. Pause before responding. Evaluate before deciding. Your pace becomes your power." The third law, make eye contact like a ruler. Machiavelli taught that the eyes are the first test of authority. Weak eyes look away quickly. Weak eyes search for approval. Weak eyes fear confrontation. And strong eyes do the opposite. A Machiavellian Ghazi holds contact without aggression, observes without reacting, shows interest without the need to impress, communicates calm control. Eye contact is not about intimidation, it's about not being intimidated. Machiavelli believed the man who does not avert his gaze is the one who cannot be controlled. The fourth law, speak with measured confidence. Confidence is not volume. Confidence is not speed. Confidence is not dominance over others. Confidence is self-ownership. Machiavelli taught rulers to speak briefly, calmly, clearly, with intention, without emotional leakage, because the moment your voice betrays insecurity, your authority collapses. He wrote, "Power is preserved by controlled expression. Say less and make every word carry weight." The fifth law, let your boundaries announce you. You never need to say, "I'm strong." Your boundaries say it for you. A Machiavellian, the boundary is not loud. It is firm, measured, uncompromising. People learn how to treat you, what you tolerate, what you reject, where your line is, where their power ends, not through arguments, but through consistent enforcement. Machiavelli wrote, "The man who sets limits commands respect. Respect is not requested, it is demonstrated." Where this leads, once you learn to project power, people listen differently, opportunities shift toward you. Weak personalities avoid challenging you, strong personalities respect you. Relationships rebalance automatically, your presence becomes a shield and weapon. This is how Machiavelli destroys self-doubt permanently, by replacing your old identity with authority, clarity, and unshakable presence. Chapter 6, Controlling How Others See You. The Machiavellian art of perception. Once Machiavelli teaches you how to project power, it takes you one step deeper, learning to control what others think about you. This, according to him, is the highest form of psychological strategy. Because in the real world, your success depends not on who you truly are, but on who people believe you are. Machiavelli wrote, "Men decide more swiftly by appearances than by reality," meaning, people rarely wait to understand your intentions, abilities, or depth. They create instant judgments based on Your expression, your tone, your posture, your silence, your energy, your confidence, your boundaries, your consistency. So the question becomes, if people will judge you anyway, why not guide their judgment? The first principle, build a reputation that works for you. Machiavelli taught rulers to craft a reputation like a weapon. He said, a man's reputation is the shadow that strikes before he does. Meaning, if your reputation is strong, people cooperate before conflict. If your reputation is weak, people test you before trusting you. You must choose what you want your reputation to convey. Strength, clarity, consistency, intelligence. Selfrespect.com. Control your reputation should travel ahead of you, protecting you, opening doors, establishing expectations. This is Machiavellian leverage. The second principle, be predictable in values, unpredictable in behavior. Machiavelli understood a human truth. People fear what they cannot map. He advised rulers to be consistent in morals, consistent in standards, consistent in boundaries, but strategically unpredictable in decisions. Because predictable behavior invites manipulation. If people can predict your moves, they can control your moves. Unpredictability forces respect, caution, restraint, curiosity. It increases your psychological weight. As Machiavelli wrote, let no man know the full extent of your mind. Mystery is not deception. Mystery is protection. Third principle, use selective vulnerability. Weak people overshare. They reveal too much too early. They expose their insecurities, hoping for validation. Machiavelli despised this, yet he did not advise cold emotional isolation. Instead, he taught, share strategically, show strength often, show vulnerability rarely and only when it builds trust or deepens loyalty. This is not manipulation. It is emotional intelligence. Selective vulnerability makes people feel closer to you without giving them ammunition against you. You remain human, but not exposed. The fourth principle, control your facial expression. Machiavelli believed a powerful person must have a controlled face. Not a mask, a discipline. Your face should reveal calm, certainty, attention, composure, quiet confidence. Never desperation, insecurity, annoyance, fear, emotional volatility, he said. The face is the herald of the soul's order. When your face is calm, people assume your mind is strong. When your face shows doubt, people assume your mind is weak. Perception becomes reality. The fifth principle, let others speak first. Machiavelli advised leaders to speak less in social settings, not from shyness but from strategy. When you let others talk, you gather information, you learn their motives, you understand their weaknesses, you discover what they want. You reveal nothing about yourself, and as he wrote, the listener has the advantage. Silence gives you control. Information gives you power. Where this leads, when you master perception, people treat you with automatic respect. They second-guess attacking you. They seek your approval, they feel your presence even. When you're silent, they assume you know more than you reveal. They elevate you without realizing why. This is the Machiavellian advantage. People align themselves to the identity you project, not the one you hide. In Chapter 7, you will learn how Machiavelli eliminates the fear of judgment entirely, how he trains you to become psychologically untouchable so no opinion, insult, or rejection can weaken your power again. Chapter 7, Becoming Untouchable. How Machiavelli removes the fear of judgment. If there is one fear that weakens more people than anything else, it is the fear of what others think. Judgment, rejection, criticism, disapproval, embarrassment, being misunderstood, being disliked. Most people live in chains forged by these fears, but Machiavelli believed this fear is not natural, it is trained into you. And anything that is trained can be untrained. He wrote, the opinions of others sway only the man who has not yet claimed himself, meaning you fear judgment only when your identity depends on external approval. So Machiavelli teaches you to remove this fear at its root, not by becoming arrogant, but by becoming governed. A person who does not need approval cannot be controlled. The first principle, separate your worth from their reaction. Most people evaluate themselves through the eyes of others. If people approve gives, they feel confident. If people disapprove gives, they feel insecure. Machiavelli considered this a fatal flaw. He said, a man who gives others the power to define him has already conquered. So he teaches you this rule. Their reaction is not your reflection. Their opinion is not your identity. Their criticism is not your truth. Once you internalize this, judgment loses its sharpness. The second principle, expect judgment and use it. Machiavelli believed judgment is not a threat. It is information. When people judge you, they reveal their insecurities, their biases, their fears, their envy, their values, their intentions. Judgment tells you who is safe, who is weak, who is threatened, and who is worth keeping in your life. So instead of fearing judgment, he teaches you to study it. Judgment becomes data. Data becomes power. The third principle, indifference is a weapon. Machiavelli advises something most people never master: the strategic art of not caring, not numbing, not pretending, not hiding, truly not caring. Because the moment someone realizes you are unaffected by their opinion, their influence over you collapses. He wrote, "He who cannot be provoked cannot be directed." If you want to become unshakable, you must become uninterested in their approval and unmoved by their disapproval. Indifference weakens all external power. The fourth principle, accept misunderstanding as a sign of strength. Most people try too hard to explain themselves. They justify, they defend, they overexplain, they try desperately to be understood. Machiavelli teaches the opposite. He believed that being misunderstood is often proof that you are thinking independently. If your ideas threaten the comfort of others, they will judge you. If your standards expose their weakness, they will resent you. If your growth reveals their stagnation, they will attack you. This is not a sign that you're wrong. It is a sign that you're ascending. So the Machiavellian mind accepts. Let them misunderstand. I do not exist to fit their story. The fifth principle, build self-validation. Confidence built from external approval collapses instantly. Confidence built from self-validation becomes permanent. Machiavelli trains you to validate yourself through disciplined action, self-respect, aligned decisions, personal standards, internal consistency. Validation becomes internal, and internal validation is unbreakable. He wrote, "The man who aligns with himself needs no applause." Where this leads, when you detach your self-worth from external judgment, criticism loses its sting, rejection loses its meaning, opinions lose their weight, approval loses its power, people can no longer manipulate you, you become psychologically untouchable. This is Machiavelli's version of freedom. No one's opinion can move a man who has taken full possession of himself. In Chapter 8, you will learn the final transformation, how Machiavelli forges a mindset so dominant, so self-directed, that self-doubt dies forever. Chapter 8, the death of self-doubt. Becoming the dominant force in your own life. There comes a moment in your transformation where something shifts permanently. A moment where the voice of doubt that once ruled your decisions finally breaks. Not temporarily, not partially, completely. Machiavelli believed that self-doubt dies only when a person becomes the absolute authority of their inner world. Not influenced by circumstance, not weakened by fear, not controlled by judgment, not dependent on approval. He wrote, "He who commands himself is fit to command all things." This is the final stage of Machiavellian transformation, the moment where you become the sovereign of your mind. But how does this actually happen? Not through motivation, not through affirmations, not through external success. It happens through internal conquest. The first conquest, mastery over your inner voice. In earlier chapters, you learn to confront the voice of doubt, to question it, to weaken it, to expose it. But now, Machiavelli teaches you to replace it. You must create a new inner voice, one that speaks with the authority you were always meant to have. A voice that says, "I decide my direction, I determine my worth, I choose my response, I define my identity, I give myself permission." Machiavelli believed, if your inner voice is not your ally, it is your enemy, and enemies must be defeated. You silence doubt not by resisting it, but by drowning it in certainty. The second conquest, mastery over your actions. Self-doubt cannot survive inside a life ruled by decisiveness. Machiavelli said, "Uncertainty is the birthplace of failure." So he trained rulers to act with speed, clarity, finality, discipline, not recklessness, but decisiveness. Every action you take reinforces a new identity. Every hesitation reinforces the old one. This is why Machiavelli taught, a person becomes powerful through repeated acts of self-direction. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a pattern. The more you choose yourself, the more permanent your authority becomes. The third conquest, mastery over your standards. Self-doubt thrives in low standards, in the people you tolerate, The habits you accept, the disrespect you entertain, the environments you allow yourself to remain in. Machiavelli's rule was simple: a man's value is measured by what he refuses. When you raise your standards, your doubt loses its footing. Because a person with standards does not beg, does not apologize for existing, does not shrink to be accepted, does not worship opinions, does not cling to the past. A person with standards becomes powerful by default, because their boundaries shape the world around them. The fourth conquest: mastery over your future. This final stage happens only after the other three are complete. You stop living reactively, you stop waiting, you stop drifting, you stop following, you stop hoping life gives you something. Instead, you become strategic. You choose your goals, you design your path, you eliminate what doesn't serve you, you structure your time, you build momentum deliberately. Machiavelli believed, fortune favors the man who takes it by force, meaning life rewards the self-directed, not the hesitant, not the doubtful, not the passive. The moment you take control of the future, self-doubt dies because it has nothing left to anchor itself to. The final Machiavellian transformation: self-doubt does not disappear in a single moment. It dies slowly, over time, as you replace weakness with power. Machiavelli's formula ends in one truth: you do not need to feel powerful to become powerful. You become powerful by acting like the person doubt fears. And eventually, you wake up one day and realize the hesitation is gone, the fear is quiet, the judgment doesn't touch you, the old identity no longer fits. The new identity finally feels natural, and the voice inside you speaks with certainty. This is not arrogance, this is sovereignty. This is the death of self-doubt. This is the rise of the inner ruler Machiavelli wanted you to become.